Alrighty, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about the basics of support and resistance. So this video is mainly going to be tailored towards beginners and giving them a full understanding of how to use support and resistance in their trading. But also, I'm going to add a little bit of a twist to it, and I'm going to tell you how I personally use support and resistance, because what they teach in the textbooks is not really, it's not the exact way that I implement it. I use certain certain ways that they teach in the textbooks I still use in my own trading, but I definitely kind of have my own twist to it. So we're going to go over all of that in this video in detail. So by the time that you finish watching this video, you should have a firm grasp on support and resistance and how I personally use support and resistance. So before we start this video, I'm also going to leave a few links in the video description that I think you should, or I highly recommend that you check out. I'm going to leave a link to my free Discord chat. You can check that out. That's going to be in the video description. Also, I'm going to leave a video link to another video that goes over support and resistance that after you watch this video, I think you should go check that out as well. I think that will just kind of solidify your understanding of support and resistance. So I highly recommend you check out that video after you watch this one. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel you like this video, okay? And I will keep the content coming. I'll keep it pushing, keep giving y'all that free knowledge, that free game that's going to help you elevate your trading to the next level. All right, so let's jump into it. So what is resistance? What is support? Let's start with resistance, okay? So the basic understanding that you'll read in a lot of the textbooks that you, a lot of the textbooks that you read, a lot of the textbooks that you see is resistance is an area on a chart where price has failed to move higher in the past. So I'm going to make a little drawing on here. It'll be a little bit easier, I think, with the drawing. So look at my cursor. Price is rallying up. It's going higher. It's going higher. It's going higher. It's getting bought up. It's getting bought up. Boom, right there. Price stops. What happens? It sells off. Okay, it gets some selling. Okay. Traders, they sell their position. So traders sell their position and price sells lower. Price failed to move higher past this specific price point right here. It failed to move higher. That is the basic understanding of what resistance is. It's an area on a price chart where price has failed to move higher in the past. Okay. And for support, it's just the opposite. So now look at my cursor again. Price sells off. It sells off. Or wait, it sells off, it sells off, it sells off, it sells off. And then what happens? Boom, it moves up higher, has a huge move up higher. This is the absolute lowest possible point that price moved to before it had that large move up higher. That is support. Support is an area on a price chart where price has failed to move lower in the past, okay? That was the low before buyers came into it, scooped it up, prices moved up higher now, okay? That's the basic understanding of what you will read in the textbooks, what you see support and resistance explained as, okay? So let's just look at, here's the next way you want to, here's another really important way to use support and resistance, because a lot of people, they'll tell you, sell at resistance. So for example, maybe you're a short seller, you want to capitalize on declining prices. So say you want to take a short position at resistance, because while history repeats itself, prices had failed to move higher past a specific price point in the past, and you're anticipating that it's going to have a recurring pattern this time around. It's going to fail to move higher past this specific level. Okay, because it is resistance. So a lot of traders, what they'll do is once price trades back up into that level, they'll go short into that level. Okay, anticipating lower prices. And you just flip it around for support. So price has failed to move lower past a specific level in the past. A lot of traders, what they'll do is they'll buy price once it comes back down into that support, anticipating that level is, that had buyers come into it into the past, is going to have a similar pattern recur once more, and it's going to go up higher and they'll be able to sell for a profit. Okay, that's the basic understanding of how, or that's how a lot of traders trade support and resistance. Now, here's another really important concept that you need to take in, that you need to take note on. So remember, this is our level of resistance, right? That's resistance. This is really important, so pay attention. Whenever resistance is broken, so say price fails to move lower off that resistance and boom, it gets a huge break at that level. It just completely snaps that level like that. Resistance when broken becomes support. Let me say that again. Resistance when broken becomes support. So that level that was previously, that price previously could not move higher past, it just blasted through it this time. And you know what happens to that next time around? In many cases, it will become support. So once price trades down to that previous level of resistance that is now support because it cracked it, many times price will reclaim that level as support. That previous resistance, it will reclaim it as support. So take note. Resistance when broken becomes support going forward. Resistance when broken becomes support going forward. It cracked that resistance. In many cases, it'll reclaim it as support. It'll make its way up higher. Okay? And the same or you just reverse it the other way around. So say price comes down, you put in a level of support like that. There is your level of support. That is the lowest that price moved before buyers came into it and pushed it up. What happens next? Price does what? It comes lower, tested it, boom, fails to hold that level. It cracks that level of support, just completely demolishes that level of support. What is that level now? What is support when broken? It is resistance. So next time price continues back up into that level, many times what will happen? See, it comes back up, tests that level. What happens next in many cases? It'll sell back off and you'll get that next leg lower. Will it always do this? No. Sometimes you will buy that retracement higher. You'll buy into that, anticipating for that next leg lower. You know what'll happen? Boom, it'll take you out. That's trading. Nothing is certain. Nothing works 100% of the time. You have to be 100% okay putting that trade on. You need to 100% accept that risk before you ever place a trade, because anything can happen. You can be wrong on any single trade. I do not care how good the setup looks. I don't care if it's an A+ setup. It checks everything off the list. And you think when you're almost 100% certain that this is your trade, this is going to be a banger trade. That trade can be wrong. Any trade can be wrong. And you have to prepare for that. But that is how you can use support and resistance. Okay? So now I'm going to show you a really effective way that you can use support and resistance, because you might be thinking, okay, but how can I avoid these fake outs to the best of my ability? I get it. Not every trade is going to be a winner. I know that, but how can I trade in a way to put the odds more in my favor? Well, what I'm going to do also, again, I'm going to give you a reminder. I'm leaving a link to one of the previous videos that I made going over support resistance. That will be in the video description. After you watch this video, I want you to watch that video that I have in the video description over support and resistance. It's another video on support and resistance. I think it's something titled along the lines of the most powerful way to use support and resistance. After you watch this, check that out. That'll clear up the rest of it for you. But I'm going to go over some small caps real quick, okay? Now, again, to eliminate any confusion, support resistance, it is not subject to just one market in particular. You can use it in support resistance is every market, okay? You can use it in Forex, you can use it in large caps, you can use it in small caps, you can use it in crypto. Does not matter, okay? These trading concepts, it's used in every market. I'm just using small caps because it's some examples that I saw this morning. All right, so here is a really good example. For example, remember what I was just saying with those examples of support is an area on a chart where price moved to fell or that failed to move lower in the past. So let's take the open right here on SMMT. This is the data of 12/6/2022. See how SMMT, it came down. Just ignore this blue line right here. Actually, let me clear all this off the chart real quick. And let's start from scratch. So remember, support is what? Support is an area on a chart where price failed to move lower in the past, right? So see how price came down right here? You had this pullback, and boom, you get a nice move up at the opening bell. This is the absolute lowest point that price moved to before buyers came into it and pressed price back up higher. So we're going to mark this level because this is our key level of support right here. So you know what happens? What happened right here? See how price slammed lower? Some traders, they grabbed it off this level. They were anticipating that this was going to hold its support because why? Because it did it in the past and they were anticipating a similar pattern to play out once more. Did that happen? No, that did not happen. It cracked that level, strong close below that level, a lot of conviction there. And I want you to notice, this is that key thing that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. I'm going to tell you how I trade support and resistance here, okay? Something that they really don't teach in the textbooks. Again, shout out to ICT. This is a little bit of smart money concepts here, and it's very powerful. So smart money concepts combined with basic support and resistance, you got a really powerful tool set available to you. So this is what we're going to go over here, okay? So let's draw out this. What is this? If you're familiar with smart money concepts, you already know what this is. All right. And I know the banks, they don't trade small caps. I know they don't mess with small caps. I want you to just study price with me. And let's break this down. What was created here? A strong move lower that created an imbalance. This is an inefficiency in price. Price was not efficiently delivered in here. Now, what is also inside that imbalance? Our previous level of support. Now, I want you to remember what we went over in the beginning of the video, how I went over all the examples, all the ways that you can use support and resistance. Remember what I said? What happens to support when support is not held? What happens to support when support is broken? What does support become when broken? It becomes resistance, right? So this was our previous level of support that price failed to move lower in the past. This time around, price did what? Price demolished that level, just a lot of strength, a strong close below that level, and that created your imbalance to the downside. Okay, there's your fair value gap right there. See that? That is a fair value gap, and I will leave a video for that in the description as well, and I will leave a link to ICT's YouTube channel since he is the father of that concept. He's the one who pioneered smart money concepts. So if you want a full understanding of it, you need to check out his channel as well. That will be in the video description. But this is a fair value gap. And what do you have inside that fair value gap? You have your level of support broken becomes resistance. Remember, support when broken becomes resistance. That is inside that imbalance. Whenever you have support broken, inside of an imbalance, a bearish imbalance like this, a lot of times that levels like that, they will get respected perfectly, or not perfectly, but really well. In many cases, will they always? Again, no, nothing is 100% certain in the marketplace, and you don't need to be everything to be 100% certain like a lot of people search for. You just need to, well, be correct more than right, or not even that really if you have good risk reward. But utilizing these concepts, basic support resistance with SMC, you do it correctly, I think you'll be really pleased with your results. I think you'll have some really high probability trades at your disposal. And this is just one of the many examples here with SMMT. You had your imbalance created, cracked that support when broken becomes resistance. Inside that imbalance, it pops up, tested your support broken, now resistance, and made its way lower. And you could have targeted low of day, which is now a level of support because price failed to move lower here in the past. You could have sold there because then it ended up having that next leg higher. Okay. And here are some other examples, just studying this pocket of price action right here. See this? What did this large move up right here? See how price failed to move higher right here? What is that? That was, or it's not anymore. But at one point that was a level of resistance, right? So let's plot that on the chart right here. I'm looking at this little pocket of price action right there. See that? Now this is another sample. This is a really large imbalance on that move higher. But what happened was it broke that level, which was resistance. Resistance when broken becomes support, and it becomes really powerful support when inside of imbalance. Now it is looking a little bit weak right here. I can see it. I can see that it didn't really have a very big move off that level. And there are other ways to measure how. There are other ways to make your trades higher probability using support and resistance. I'm not going to go over too much in this video because I don't want to overload you with information that's not going to do you any good. It's just going to confuse you. But this is the basic thing I want to get across in this video. Resistance, the basic premise, the basic concept you'll read in your textbooks or you're watching YouTube is resistance is an area on a chart where price has failed to move higher in the past. Support is area on a chart where price has failed to move lower in the past. And resistance when broken becomes support going forward. With support when broken becomes resistance going forward. Okay, this is another example. We already went over that example. Support when broken became resistance or you could have caught a little move lower. Now, and this is a case of resistance being broken becoming support. Okay, so you see how you had that strong move higher, had your imbalance created. This was a level of resistance, or resistance when broken becomes support going forward. What happens? You did get a little bounce off that level. You could have maybe scalped that, very possibly. That could have been a nice little scalp for you off of that previous resistance becoming support. You could have scalped it again right here because you could see it did respect that level for a little while before now it's starting to break down. But it did give you some opportunities in here where you could have scalped that off of that support. Again, that is support. It was resistance. Now it's support because it broke that level. Okay, let's go over a few more examples. Now, this is kind of an example of how you could use the other way around. Price move. See how price fell to move lower right here? See how price came down? And then you had that, this was the absolute low of this little leg lower right here. You had a pullback, you had a pullback, you had a pullback, and then boom, you get a large move up higher. You get a lot of strength on that move up higher. This is also a liquidity pull, but remember what we said at the beginning of this video. What's another way to play support? Support is an area on a chart where price has failed to move lower in the past. See how it failed to move lower right here? It failed to move lower, you had a large move up higher. It came down and did what? It reclaimed that as support. And now what happened? That's where you had that really large move off of. Okay. So you could have played that anticipating, hey, I think a similar pattern is going to play out here. I think a similar move is going to happen here. I'm anticipating that price is going to fail to move lower again like it has in the past. Okay. And that's what happened. It failed to move lower. Okay, and yep, this is your level of support right here at the current moment. Equal lows right there as well. So yep, that is the basic premise of what support and resistance is. Okay, and right here, what is this? What is that right there? That is, see how price failed to move higher right here during that little period of price action. That was the absolute high of this price swing before price moved lower. What was it? It was resistance. But what happened to that resistance? That resistance just got demolished. It got completely demolished. What does that become? It becomes support. That's a level of support. That is a level of support right there. Okay. So again, one last time, I'm going to leave a link to a few videos in the description. There's going to be a video in the description going over the most powerful way to use support resistance. Watch that video, and I think that'll really solidify your understanding of support and resistance. I will also leave a link to the video in the description going over fair value gaps, because both of these are fair value gaps right here that I just went over. I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description as well, or to a couple of those videos. And I'm also going to leave a link to ICT's video in the description, because again, he is the pioneer of smart money concepts. So if you want a full 100% correct understanding of the concepts, you need to check out his channel. He goes over on there. Watch those videos. Tons of gold in those videos that you're going to want to check out. All right. So I think that about covers it. Again, if you enjoyed the video, if you got some use out of it, make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content. And I will catch you later.